Fitz, I know your approach isn't going to change. You guys have made that very clear year after year, week after week. But does the messaging change this time of year? What you talk about with your team, what you have to remind them of, anything like that?
I think we're constantly recapping where we've been and where we're going, and then always bringing it back to the center of what we need to do in the present to learn from the past and to prepare for the future. So I think that recipe stays the same. I do think there are points of gratitude to stop and reflect and be grateful and to remind the guys that our fans didn't show up because they were bored. Like, they showed up to watch those guys play, and because something really exciting's happening, and so I think there are those reflection points. But no, I think it'll be business as usual at practice, and and honestly, it's a chance for us to get better today and tomorrow and into the rest of the week.
Yeah, what experience do you have in supers that you can draw on personally that you might share with them?
It's really exciting. I mean, you look at I'm off of social media for the most part, and except what gets sent to me, and you just get inundated with the bracket, and when you see it shrinking down, it's a pretty cool thing. And we talk so much about the things we're grateful for inside of our program, and so I think this is just another opportunity to compete for another championship. I mean, a conference regular season title, a conference tournament championship, a regional championship. Going for another one against another awesome team. So I think it's just another great challenge, and I think I think my experience has been whoever enjoys the postseason the most usually does the best.
What was the experience like of watching the Oklahoma-Georgia Tech game, and then, of course, ultimately worrying that you were going to get to somewhat improbably host two more games here at least?
Yeah, going into the day, kind of in the back of your mind was, and drove in and thought, man, I really don't want to see all the things go away in the backyard. Came up Naismith. I'm like, kind of like these banners and kind of fun seeing all the porta potties out there, knowing that it could be filled up again. But then you thought, okay, you got to get through the game, and then you jumped out to an early lead, so you're feeling good. And then you knew Georgia Tech was going to, I mean, they're so explosive. So at one point, it was like, okay, well, Atlanta's a great place. I spent half my life there recruiting, it feels like. But honestly, watching it, I stayed pretty just baseball minded of evaluating, and then a little bit of the fan in me came out when they tied it, where I was like, please walk them off so we could be at home. So it was a fun day, and but it was pretty much business, trying to figure out how we're going to compete against both teams.
You praised your assistant coaches a lot over the years. What was your pitch to them as you were hiring them to come to Kansas, and I guess how does that compare to what you guys are enjoying together now?
It was funny. I had an opportunity the year before and had talked to them, and that opportunity, timeline wise, was it was a head coaching job, and it was timeline wise was cruising along, and then LSU popped up, and it was to the point where I had called them to say, hey, are you guys coming? And they're like, heck yeah. And then I went to LSU like 24 hours later and took the job, and had to call and be like, hey guys, sorry about that. And they were awesome. They were friends of mine, and guys I had worked with, Tyler and Brandon, and knew John incredibly well. So I think we had kind of a dry run at it the year before. So when I called them the next year, it was like, hey guys, this one's for real, and it's about to happen. And but I think the vision, all from the first night we were on campus, it was, guys, we can do incredible things here. And I think they all knew that. They had done their homework, and I knew who they were, and I knew what they were about. So there wasn't much of a pitch. It was, years and years of relationship and kind of some shared vision that came along with that. And but yeah, they've been incredible. You know, Ryan was with us at LSU as a grad assistant, and he had graduated, so he was looking for a job. And I didn't know Ryan real well, but I knew his work, and it was spectacular. And but had spent very little time with him at LSU, and so there was maybe a little bit more of a pitch to him. But it's, as he tells it, he says we had 3 90-second conversations, and he was moving from Oxford, Mississippi to Lawrence, Kansas. So there wasn't much of a pitch with any of them. It was a real shared vision, and they've been on board since day one.
Was that another D1 head coaching
Yeah.
job? And so I guess just, do you ever think about how things have worked out differently? This wouldn't be happening right now.
Yeah, I can't help but think through how blessed I've been in my career, and the Lord's just been incredibly good to me. I've been surrounded by incredible people, and I have so many opportunities in my life that I've just been so fortunate and blessed to get. So spend a whole lot of time thinking about how different things could be. I think I spend more time just in gratitude of how amazing they are.
Are you happy to be playing Saturday because all the excitement it was so intense, it can wear off a little, and then you can get after it again? Or would you rather play Friday?
I at first I thought, maybe we'll play Friday. It'd be great to get back out there, and maybe we'd get an extra day of rest from whoever we were playing. And then I thought this time of year, the more rest you can possibly get is probably best. But I'd play tonight if they let us, or I'd play next week if they. I think at this point, when you're down to the final 16 teams, I'd play wherever, whenever. The guys will be ready. I think yesterday would have, the adrenaline and emotional piece of the win, being down 5, coming back, winning at home. Couldn't hear each other. The crowd was so ridiculous. I was yelling at someone at second base not to get picked off, and I'm like, they don't even know I'm here. I couldn't even get their attention. And so I think emotionally it was so draining that I'm definitely glad we have some rest. But yeah, I was good with either Friday or Saturday.
Do you think this could be one of the great weekends in KU history if you take care of business? I mean, for the excitement and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought last weekend was it had the thought right after the game, like it just doesn't get any better than this. And then to be able to host again against another awesome semi-regional team that will travel well, and it's pretty cool. Like to have someone that's in our vicinity that's going to travel, and it's going to be awesome.
It seems like one of the prevailing narratives with this year's tournament has been the parity and the eliminations of last year's participants and things like Little Rock and Troy and whatnot. What's your take on that, and why do you think that, I guess, so many new teams are getting chances at glory this year?
That's a great question, Henry. I think that the portal has created parity in a lot of ways, because you can get good in a hurry and you can get bad in a hurry, and the culture piece is super important. And it's not surprising inside of the wall. Like as a baseball coach, it's not surprising to see Little Rock and Troy and Supers. Those are 2 elite coaches, elite staffs, and you could look through everyone that was playing yesterday, and there was Milwaukee's really good. Like they've got a bunch of older players and gave Auburn everything that they could handle. So when you're inside the industry and know those coaches and know those programs, it's not super surprising. But I think it's because the portal creates, there's just not as much of the guy comes in as a freshman and stays for 3 years, and he's finally getting the shot as a junior. And I think a lot of programs that have had that historical process of committing a kid young, developing them through like that happens less and less, so probably creates some parity. And then also I think, you look at the way that some of the quote unquote mid majors recruit, and they're getting really good players from the portal, from junior college, from high school. So I think just the parity is created by being able to impact your roster more significantly on a year-to-year basis.
And then I'm sure we'll ask you about it later in the week as well, but just what initially stands out about OU from what you saw?
Really athletic. They can run. They're great defensively. Very solid lineup. They play really good baseball. They're have a great pitching staff. Probably similar comments as to everyone who's playing in a super. Their coaching staff has been there and done that. And they're just good on both sides of the ball. Probably like a lot of teams, very similar to some of the teams we've played in the Big 12 in terms of they run, but they also have power. But yeah, they're really good, and it'll be a great challenge for us.
When you think about this team and some of the more anonymous players, you have Savion do what he did in the Big 12 tournament. I wonder how important that is to have a guy or a couple of guys kind of waiting in the wings for that moment. Do you think you have others, and maybe it's not position players or at the plate, but maybe that's in the bullpen? Do you feel like that's a strength?
Yeah, our bullpen has been so solid and so defined in its roles that we haven't had to branch out much from Toby and Ryan and Bodie and like Cannon's waiting in the wings. Manning stepped up. Manning's a great example. Like, we needed someone to bridge, and Manning just took the ball and ran with it, and he wasn't going to come out of the game. Like, he was phenomenal. We've got other guys. I mean, we were a game away from seeing a lot of those guys. We were going to be able to run back Dom and Cookie for a little bit, but it wasn't going to be super long, but it would have been their pen day. So they would have been able to stretch it a little, but, you get into matchup stuff with some lefties, and Deere and Thompson and McKnight. Lopez was going to have to come in and get some outs. Cannon was certainly going to have to run with it for a while. Fink is the guy that probably has earned, Fink and Carr have earned it in terms of their pitchability, and they've gotten some big outs. You think of Fink coming in against K-State after a 5.5-hour rain delay and basically finishing the game for us. But those relievers have thrown so well that it's kind of taken some of those opportunities away, which is a great problem to have. And then offensively, there were multiple times on Sunday that thought about putting Savion in. We had Cade, but I really was doing everything I could to not use Cade on Sunday. And there are some other guys too that could step up if needed. But I think that's the thing that separated this team, is these guys have just continued to work and they stay ready. And we've had zero issues with any teammate related things all year. They've been incredible.
Sure. And sort of along those lines, you got some big names, all Big 12 guys, big production, big stats, all that. And then you've got a guy like Jordan Bach who is just kind of out there doing his thing and doesn't get a lot of the attention. Is that him? Does that fit him? Does that suit him? Or does he deserve more? Or what can you tell us about Jordan?
I think Bach loves winning. And he loves being around his teammates. And he's a very his at-bats are very cerebral, and he's thinking through it, and he's got a plan. He's going up there to execute it, and I think he loves the chess game of it. But I think when it's all said and done, I would define him as a guy that just loves winning. So I don't think he cares who gets the credit or how it happens, as long as we win. And he does a great job of staying really present in the moment. And he's been so big for us all year long. And you look at the real metrics of baseball, and he's one of our top guys.
And do you get the sense that these guys feel any pressure on being 2 wins away from bringing this program back to a place it hasn't been in 33 years?
No, these guys are loose as can be. I haven't sensed any. There hasn't been one moment this year where I've thought, man, these guys are tight or they're really feeling it. And usually teams that you worry about that, it's because they've shown it at different parts in the year. I mean, you think about how many quote unquote must-win games we've had. I mean, feels like we've had 56 of them because the RPI is so fragile that you play these games early in the year and they're critical, and you build the schedule to put yourself in you literally build the schedule to try to have your RPI as high as possibly can be so you can host. Well, a home game against Sac State is about as RPI huge as a road game against anyone. So those games all feel like playoff games. So I haven't sensed it at all. I highly doubt I will today at practice. I saw a bunch of the guys yesterday just in passing, and no, I'm not a concern. I'll certainly be aware of it, but I can't. It would be the first time it's popped up if it did, and I don't anticipate it.
Just how special of a time is it for college baseball in this state? Not just what you guys are doing, but just down the road what Johnson County did at the JUCO level.
Yeah, gosh, unbelievable season for those guys. And talk about power output. I was watching some of the Junior College World Series on TV last week, and every guy that in Grand Junction is an unbelievably offensive place, but every guy that came up had 20-plus home runs. So special team. Congrats to Coach Horner and college baseball is as good as it's ever been, and I think there are a bunch of reasons for that. I think all the extra years of COVID eligibility are pretty much done, so it's cycled back to more guys are going to junior college because they're getting the extra years of eligibility. The 34-man roster shrunk it a little bit, and then the draft is 20 rounds instead of 40. So I think baseball's at its all-time high in college.
You mentioned Cage. How's he doing, and what's his status ahead of Saturday?
He's good. I anticipate him to be full go. He'll be probably have to take it easy this week early at practice, but fully anticipate. If we played tonight, I think he'd be 75%. Fully anticipate him at 100% next week.
OU clipped you guys a couple years ago in the Big 12 championship. Is that going to be part of the message, I guess? Because you still got some guys who were on that team a couple years ago, or is it just kind of business as usual?
Yeah, the business as usual. Totally different team. That was a great game. We were up 5-0 in the fourth and couldn't get off the field and ended up walking us off. I remember that one clearly. Jabriel Easley pitched his tail off, and that was a fun one. But no, that's his. They've got a couple guys back from that team, as do we. But no, that one's long gone.
It's your alums and KU baseball past. They've sort of flocked to this place, and I imagine they might even more this weekend. Over your 4 years, how well and how much time have you had to feel like you get to know a lot of those guys, and then also bringing it back to the present, how cool is it to see them enjoy everything your team's doing right now?
Well, I've become friends with a lot of those guys, and being a head coach is interesting because I didn't play here, so I always think that the program is the players, like they're the ones that actually do it, and I'm steering the ship, but it's really the program is theirs, and so to see these guys back, it was all the different generations. We had in the dugout the other day, we had Herb from the 1949 team came out, which was incredible to see him. What a stud. So cool to hang with him. Rob Thompson was back with a bunch of his teammates. We had a bunch of Coach Price's guys that were back. TJ Walls and I spent some time together down in the tent during the Arkansas Missouri State game when I was just taking it all in. And then a bunch of our guys from our early years were here. So they were all back. Of course, Bingham was back, and all the guys from the 93, a ton of the guys from the 93 team in that era. But it was so cool because I met so many guys that I had never met before, and it was all the same. They're so excited. They're so fired up about what we're doing, and to me, it's important because this is their program, and so yeah, really special.
Anything else for Coach?